You can see on the graphic there, and we go on board with the HendrickCars.com Arrow McLaren machine of Kyle Larson. On the graphic, he's leading. He's not really, you know, in terms of...
He is.
He is, technically, but not really.
A catastrophic yellow. He last pitted on lap 153. So he's 27 laps into this stint. Improbable, but not impossible.
It's been quite the day for Kyle, and everybody should celebrate what this enormously talented racer has done.
He's leading laps at the Indy 500.
He is.
That's going to be on the resume leaving here today.
As Canapino, as Dixon goes by, Canapino would have and should have been in the mix, but was penalized on his last stop.
Canapino holding strong.
And he's creating a gap between Newgarden and Dixon.
Yeah.
And look,
fellow Chevy car as well.
Newgarden already starting to swerve on the straightaways to break the draft as Rossi moves out on Dixon and takes over what's effectively second place.
Yeah, that's a big move right there. Dixon falling back, struggling a bit at this point in the stint, I think, on balance. Nice break for Newgarden, but Rossi closing very fast on the lap car of Canapino.
It's going to be important for Rossi to try to clear Canapino as quickly as possible. And look, man, I know there's not really a rule about command blues until you're a lap down to the whole field, but at this point, we're a handful of laps to go of the Indy 500. You don't want to play a part in that. If I'm the team owner here at Juncos Honda Racing, I'm telling my guy, hey, look, it wasn't our day, unfortunate, but now Canapino is actually looking on Joseph. Joseph's trying to fall back a little.
What a shame for Canapino to be penalized this late in the race, because the Argentinian veteran in just his second Indy 500 has had the pace and has shown that he likes the Brickyard, and he knows now how to drive it and drive it effectively. He spent more than a fair share of time in the top 10 today in his Juncos Hollinger Chevy.
Mad respect to what he's done, but he's now spending more than his fair share of time messing up this battle. He needs to get out of the way. He can get his lap back, I guess if a yellow comes out.
That move right there, keep in mind, James, he's now in front of Newgarden. Once Larson and Simpson pit, Canapino would be back on the lead lap for a yellow. Let's go back down to pit lane for a report on Newgarden.
A little bit of concern to radio.
Vibration, where's it coming from? Front right again, similar to the last stint.
So this has come up a couple of times today. He also says, you need to count me down. My lap counter is broken.
Oh, boy. And as we heard Jonathan Duguid do that before for Joseph Newgarden. So that now brings Alexander Rossi very, very close. Kyle Larson pits from the lead of the race. Newgarden, Rossi by Canapino. It's close. Into turn one. 16 laps to go in the Indy 500.
A vibration on one of the tires, that can be caused by a bunch of different things. You can knock wheel weights off of the car. They use wheel weights to balance the tire, so it's in perfect balance as you're running 200 plus miles an hour. If something happens to knock it out of balance, it can create an incredibly disruptive vibration. You feel it through the steering wheel, you feel it through your head. It rattles your vision blurry, Townsend. And that can be very also detrimental just to the handling of that race car. As Rossi now big run off of turn 4.
It would appear to be a big issue as Rossi diff powers to the front.
And the crowd love that. The winner of the 100th Indy 500 is back at the front. It's been almost 2 years since Alexander Rossi won an NTT IndyCar Series race. It's been a drought of sorts.
Needed 87.3 to the end for a fuel, 87.3.
That was Brian Barnhart telling him what he needs as Joseph Newgarden goes back to the front.
And that fuel number, important. Rossi pitted 2 laps before Newgarden. So I don't think Newgarden has any worry about fuel. It's just that vibration. Maybe he's figured out how to adjust his car and make it work. But Newgarden with the advantage on gas.
There's the captain, Roger Penske, who as a team owner has won 19 Indianapolis 500s with wife Kathy up above looking on. Could it be win number 20 with the man who won last year?
And we haven't mentioned Pato O'Ward for a couple of laps, but I've been watching closely, and the driver of the Aero number 5 suddenly seems to be finding his groove again, just like he did with his teammate Rossi about 20 laps ago. Award is going forward.
2 years ago, he had an opportunity to go up the inside at turn one and maybe grab the lead from Marcus Ericsson like he just did there to Dixon, but he didn't do it. He kind of erred on the side of caution and being conservative. He said, if I ever get a shot again, I am going for it. And that shot may just be right here, right now.
Gentle snake down the back straightaway. Rossi works up to the wall. Newgarden struggling maybe a little bit in that turbulent air, but Newgarden's been really strong off turn 4.
Look, we're getting past half stint on these tires. This is when you really start to know what your balance is. You start to lose that grip. It's harder to follow cars, to set up passes. Newgarden able to drive around Rossi. Rossi able to drive around Newgarden. But Pato's sort of just sitting there with the front row seat. He needs one of these guys to make a mistake to get an honest run and try to make a pass.
And I think what we just saw was that fuel advantage with Newgarden getting back by.
86.8's the number, 86.8.
That's the tension growing for Brian Barnhart. Who's got better fuel than Newgarden? Pato Award.
That number is growing. That's a bigger save than what he had the last time Brian Barnhart got on the radio to Alexander Rossi. He's going the wrong way when it comes to fuel consumption.
Today has been so eventful for all of the cautions and the action and the crashes. But guess where it's been good, guys? An Indy 500 race record for the amount of different leaders. 16 different leaders today. That's been awesome. And the current leader is the defending Indy 500 winner. If Joseph Newgarden hangs in there for another 11 laps, he wins a bonus $440,000 courtesy of Borg Warner for being the next driver to go back-to-back. Elio Castro Neves was the last 22 years ago.
And with that Borg Warner bonus, Newgarden would win well over $3 million with the win. There is some serious cash on the line. Here comes Rossi back.
He's backing off there. He had a run. He could have forced the issue there, but he needs to save that fuel. You can save it so much better running in second place. But you do use those tires more, like we've been saying. But right now, these two are sizing each other up, Townsend. They're trying to figure out, where do I want to be with 2 laps to go? Where do I want to be with 1 lap to go?
And the thing is, that fuel disadvantage, you can't hide it, Diff. Everybody knows. Team Penske knows with Newgarden exactly where Rossi is on gas. They're both Chevy cars.
Keep in mind on the last lap, watch where they are here. Watch the line for pit entry. You are no longer allowed to swerve and go below that white line there, like we saw last year with Ericsson and Newgarden. So what is that last lap going to look like as Award follows his teammate, but Rossi goes back to the front?
It's a little strange there, the rate at which Rossi was able to pass Newgarden. He just had a massive wiggle in the short chute.
And then a wiggle from Pato on the entry to turn 2. Guys, the cars are turned all the way up, fastest speeds we've seen pretty much all day. Tires are starting to wear. Temperatures are falling.
Diff, Newgarden might have the gas, but he'll need hands to get this thing to the finish. That was a wicked loose moment down in turn 1.
And the best hands here is Pato Award as far as speed, Mr. Quick Hands.
We've talked about how late we're running, guys, as Pato's got to defend now against Scott Dixon. Kirkwood there making a move on the inside.
What an unbelievable recovery. Like you said, Hinch, Kyle Kirkwood now legitimately in the top 5. And Diff, you're pointing to the last lap for Kirkwood's pit.
86.7.
He is
176.
He's the best on fuel. He stopped later than everybody else. He still gives Andretti Global a chance of winning the Indianapolis 500.
As temperatures cool, as track temp cools, that tends to change the balance. It usually makes
Grade 5, it'd be better fuel if you want it.
a little bit sharper on the front, a little looser of a race car. As Rossi now going to lose 1 spot to Newgarden. Is he going to lose a second to Award?
Pato! Pato on the inside.
Oh boy, the back of the number 5 car, Pato Award snaking on the entry to turn 1. That thing is forklifting its way through the corner right now.
The most popular driver in INDYCAR right now is that 25-year-old Mexican. Pato Award has throngs of fans wherever he goes, wherever we travel with the series. And Mr. Quick Hands, the ninja, is now chasing down Scott Dixon at the front of this field. Pardon me, Joseph Newgarden at the front of this field.
And look who just crept his way into 5th. Alex Palou, teammates to Scott Dixon. And here comes the yellow submarine, McLaughlin, starting to turn it up.
Challenged with clutch issues.
Nice job there. Nice job. P6 right now.
All race long. And Hinch, are we starting to see the infancy of the Dragon? The early phases of the Dragon?
Oh, it's already starting. The Dragon is that weaving movement on the straightaways. That's to try to break the draft of the car behind. But a big run here from Pato O'Ward. He's going to the point, Diff.
This could be a practice for the last lap. Could it look like this in 5 laps' time? Listen to the crowd. The popularity of this young man is phenomenal, and he backs it up with the driving.
I wonder, can anybody respond at this point? Those Firestones continue to wear. The good news, though, if you're struggling for balance, that track temp dropping to 89 degrees now.
I feel so happy for these fans that they have waited so long today to see a race finish like this. 4 laps to go, 10 miles, that's it, as Newgarden is back at the front.
4 laps to go, 4 laps to go.
This final stint has been fascinating. The movement, the machinations, the strategy, the timing, the decision-making. Who has done it best with 3 laps to go from here?
3 to go.
Close but no cigar for Pato O'Ward on that lap. Was that intentional? Is he already working backwards from lap 200?
Yes.
I don't want to be leading right now.
Yes.
He's planning it out. He's been here the last 2 years and come up short. 220-mile-an-hour game of chess right now.
You just get the sense that Pato O'Ward will be disgusted with a second place here. He has the car.
2 by 5.
He has the fuel. He has the desire, and I think he'll leave it all out on the racetrack with 2 to go.
2 laps to go, and Pato's got his teammate Alexander Rossi right behind as well. Newgarden, O'Ward, Rossi, Dixon, and Palou.
You can see the balance in that race car. He is nervous. He is balancing that thing on the absolute edge.
You know what to do now.
Great job hanging on to it. He's got a nice run coming to turn 3.
And decides not to take it. That tells you everything you need to know.
That shocks me.
If a yellow comes out now, we can't red flag it.
White flag, amigo. White flag.
White flag, amigo.
Here it comes.
There has never been a Mexican driver win the Indianapolis 500. Maybe that time is now. With 1 more lap to go, Pato goes to the lead.
He's not going to lift this time. He did it against Ericsson and lost. Pato O'Ward to the front off of turn 2.
5 back, 6 back.
O'Ward tries to break the draft. Newgarden's like, I've been in this situation before. Joseph Newgarden around the outside of Pato O'Ward. This is mind-blowing. Joseph Newgarden had to wait 12 times to win it, and now he's going to do it back-to-back. Joseph Newgarden is a 2-time Indy 500 winner. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, guys. Let's go. Let's go.
For the first time in 22 years, a driver has won back-to-back Indy 500s, and it's Joseph Newgarden. Win number 20 for Team Penske. And Pato O'Ward's heart has been broken again.
Proud of you there, friend. Awesome job today.
As a race fan, and now he's a 2-time winner. There's the Borg Warner wreath and the milk coming shortly for Joseph Newgarden, who celebrates his 2nd Indianapolis 500 win. in as many years.
That's what it's all about. Those meaningful words, true emotions, raw emotions, acknowledging everybody that's helped you to get to this position and executing. And he's only the 11th driver to be a two-time winner. There's 6 three-time winners, 4 four-time winners. And Newgarden puts his name on that illustrious list as a multiple two-time Indy 500 winner. That milk tastes great. Maybe he's talking to some team members who aren't here at Indy. Wow. And as just talking to the crowd who stayed as we show you the unofficial results, Newgarden, O'Ward, Dixon, that's one of the top 10 closest finishes in the 108 runnings of the Indianapolis 500. Let your eyes walk through the names.
I mean, simply one of the most dramatic and skillful Indy 500s that I can remember seeing, all through the field, all the way down. You see some of the big names that went out that couldn't hang on to the race cars, or in some cases got together. James, this one was a race for the ages.
It certainly was. You had absolute titans of the sport battling it out. And Joseph Newgarden said it in his interview. We had the best car, but as we touched on at the top of the show, the best car doesn't always win. The driver still got to get it done, and Newgarden did that today.
At the start of this race, Alex Palou's lead was only 1 point over Will Power. However, now he has blown it out to 20 over his teammate Scott Dixon, and Power, O'Ward and Colton Herta in the top 5. We're about to say farewell here on NBC.